Hi everybody, welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. My name is Jared, and in this video I want to talk about the sign of the Son of Man. It's something that's come up a lot recently in the comments, and originally I wasn't going to do the video on that. I was going to actually read through this entire chapter right here in the Institute Manual about Matthew 24, and because for the New Testament that's like one of the bigger second coming chapters. And I came across this part, and then it just in a weird way, it led me to looking into the sign of the Son of Man. Okay. I'm still going to do this video. In fact, I want to read this right here really quick before I move on to the sign of the Son of Man. I thought that this was really good. President Harold B. Lee noted that some church members seek information from unreliable sources concerning the signs that will precede the second coming. He specifically recommended that church members study Matthew 24, Joseph Smith Matthew, and D&C sections 38, 45, 101, and 33. And I thought it would be a good idea, probably for the next video, to actually look into those and see what we can find. And then it continues. President Lee then stated, quote, "There are some of the writings with which you should concern yourselves. These are some of the writings with which you should concern yourselves rather than commentaries that may come from those whose information may not be the most reliable and whose motives may be subject to question." Yeah, and I feel like there's a lot of that going on. One thing that I keep complaining about is how these ideas of a singular one person antichrist has like seeped into the LDS second coming community. The idea of a 7-year tribulation, um, a lot of these kind of like evangelical ideas that come from their not understanding the concept of the great apostasy, because whenever we're talking about antichrist and stuff like that, it's usually a misunderstanding because they don't know any better. It's not like uh, you know they just don't have modern revelation, or they haven't accepted it. And so when they read those scriptures, they read single person antichrist. When we read those scriptures, we're thinking about the great apostasy in Satan being the man of sin. And I have a whole playlist about it, so if you want to learn more, go check out that playlist. Anyway, um we have a comment from Joseph Smith in Teachings of the Prophet Joseph Smith, where he criticizes Father Miller, which I guess he came up with this very convincing second coming timeline during the days of Joseph Smith. And you have all the numbers here, all the numbers: 3.5 days, 3.5 years, 1,260 days, 1,290 days, 42 months, da 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 da. And he talks about how Jesus Christ never did reveal to any man the precise time when he would come. Go and read the scriptures, and you cannot find anything that specifies the exact hour that would come. And all who say so are false teachers, because that's what uh, Father Miller was doing. He thought that he figured it out using the numbers, and he made a prediction of when it was going to happen. So Joseph Smith has essentially spoken out against these timelines right here, and it's just like there's a billion of them. Here's some modern day uh, iterations of them. It's all the same, and it's all crazy looking, and it is crazy. It is crazy, and I understand that there's people that really put their heart and soul into this, and they really study the Bible, but I don't think that the intention of the Lord was for us to be able to put together these charts and figure out exactly when it's going to happen. And that's not to say that we can't know when it's going to happen, just not in this way, as though we're supposed to pull these things out and calculate it. So that leads into the main topic here of this video. Okay, so I've read this about a billion times. This was published in the Ensign, August 2002, where Joseph Smith says that no, the prophet will know the day and the hour. The prophet will know, because he talks about Amos 3:7. Um, Wait, it was 3:7 or 3:8? Anyway, I decided today to go to the actual original source. So remember, they were confident enough to put this in the Ensign for the entire church to read. And I'm not going to read this here. I'm going to read it from the actual source. This is a book called The Words of Joseph Smith, the contemporary accounts of the Nauvoo discourses of the prophet Joseph, compiled and edited by Andrew F. Ehat and Lyndon W. Cook. Um, Volume 6 in the Religious Studies Monograph Series. And this is Religious Studies Center, Brigham Young University, Provo, Utah. Okay. So on page 180, this is where we're going to start here. James Burgess Notebook. Remarks on the Coming of the Son of Man by Joseph Smith, the prophet. Made in Nauvoo, Christ says, no man knoweth the day or the hour when the Son of Man cometh. This is a sweeping argument for sectarianism against Latter-day Saintism. Did Christ speak this as a general principle throughout all generations? Oh no, he spoke in the present tense. No man that was then living upon the footstool of God knew the day or the hour, but he did not say that there was no man throughout all generations that should not know the day or the hour. No, for this would be in flat contradiction with other scripture, for the prophet says that God will do nothing but what he will reveal unto his servants, the prophets. Consequently, if it is not made known to the prophets, it will not come to pass. Again, we find Paul, first of Thessalonians, 5th chapter, expressly points out the characters who shall not know the day nor the hour when the Son of Man cometh. For, says he, it will come upon them as the thief or unawares. Who are they that are the children of darkness or night? But to the saints, he says, yea, are not of, but to the saints, he says, yea, are not of the night, nor of the darkness of that day should come upon you unawares. Sorry, the way that this is written, they obviously copied it over exactly how it was written in the journal. So there's spelling errors and there's, it's not very edited. It's just raw the way that it was written down. So, okay. John the Revelator says, 14th chapter, 7th verse, that the hour of his judgment is come. They are precursors or forerunners of the coming of Christ. Read Matthew 24th chapter and all the prophets. He says, then shall they see the sign of the coming of the Son of Man in the clouds of heaven. How are we to see it? Answer. Okay, now this is describing how the sign of the Son of Man is going to happen. And I don't think that I knew this before. So this is what kind of excited me and prompted me to do a separate video about this. Okay, how are we to see it? The sign of the Son of Man? Answer. As the lighting up of the morning, or the dawning of the morning, cometh from the east, and shineth unto the west, so also is the coming of the Son of Man. The dawning of the morning makes its appearance in the east, and moves along gradually. So also will be the coming of the Son of Man. Now, everyone knows, everyone's familiar with that, because I'm pretty sure it's in the scripture where it talks about him coming from the east, and this imagery of like the morning and the dawning and stuff like that. That's why my understanding is that most temples in the church face east, and why in Christianity graves typically will face east, right? So that's not surprising, but Okay, so let me continue. It's this thing about how it happens gradually. Okay, so it will be small at its first appearance, and gradually becomes larger until every eye shall see it. Shall the saints understand it? Oh, yes. Paul says so. Shall the wicked understand? Oh, no. They attribute it to a natural cause. They will probably suppose it is two great comets coming in contact with each other. It will be small at first and will grow larger and larger until it will be all in a blaze, so that every eye shall see it. Joseph Smith, the prophet. So this scene, I don't know, the way that I picture it, it seems to me that when it first appears, um, to the time that he actually comes, like when he descends, to me it seems like it's kind of like a drawn out event. Like it's not just like in one day, because it seems like there's time for like speculation among people, because there's the famous quote where I should have looked this up. Let me do it now. Let's go to the scripture citation index. I always think that I have everything prepared and ready, but okay, comet, planet. Here it is. Okay. This is in Teachings of the Prophet Joseph Smith. Okay. He says, Judah must return, Jerusalem must be rebuilt, and the temple, and water come out under the temple, and the waters of the Dead Sea be healed. It will take some time to rebuild the walls of the city and the temple, and all this must be done before the Son of Man will make his appearance. There will be wars and rumors of wars, signs in the heavens, above and on the earth beneath, the sun turned into darkness, the moon to blood, earthquakes in diverse places, the seas heaving themselves beyond their bounds. And by the way, you guys, these are all things that have been declared as fulfilled in General Conference. These things have been talked about. I'm not waiting for these things to happen anymore, for the sign of Son of Man to happen. Not so much the temple in Jerusalem being built. Although I have an entire playlist looking at the BYU Jerusalem Center. Again, I always have to do this disclaimer because there's always some person that chimes in the comments. I know it wasn't built to be a temple. I know that your professor said that it will never be a temple. Jeffrey R. Holland said that we may not know the full mission of the BYU Jerusalem Center, but that it's probably going to be glorious. And I know that the church has a agreement not to proselytize in Israel. Okay, and I know that it's currently being leased. The church does not own the land, but things can change at any time if the Lord wills it. Okay, and the church is not going to go against the Israeli government or the city of Jerusalem. They're not going to break the laws, but the Lord can turn that into a temple whenever and however he wants to at any time. Okay, there's a lot that has gone into the BYU Jerusalem Center. That's all I'm going to say about that. If you want to know more, go look at my playlist. I have many videos that I've done about it. So, and then the Dead Sea healing, I mean, that could happen pretty quickly, I would assume. Okay, but anyway, moving on. Um, so after those things, then will appear one grand sign of the Son of Man in heaven. But what will the world do? They will say it is a planet, a comet, etc. But the Son of Man will come as the sign of the Son of Man, which will be as the light of the morning cometh out of the east. Okay, so with those two things together, um, you know, it's still not entirely clear, but it seems like it's something that probably at least takes some time, because at first it's small and then it grows and people seem to have time to speculate about it and wonder what it is. The righteous, according to Joseph Smith, the righteous will realize what it is, and therefore they will know the day and the hour, or they'll have a very good approximation. Because if you look up in the sky and you see something that you recognize as the sign of the Son of Man, then you know, okay, probably within the next couple days here, or the next month, or whatever. Okay. Now, there's a few interesting things about this, the sign of the Son of Man, that we find out in the scriptures. Okay, so let me share this with you. Joseph Smith, Matthew, verse 36. And as I said before, after the tribulation of those days, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken, then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. If you click on tribulation, it does not pull up 7-year tribulation period. It pulls up Joseph Smith Matthew, verse 18, and that says, For in those days shall the great tribulation on the Jews and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem, such as what was not before sent upon Israel of God since the beginning of their kingdom until this time, no, nor shall be sent again upon Israel. So this tribulation, it would seem, is talking about the tribulation, excuse me, upon the Jews, and after that, the sign of the Son of Man. And this could kick up anytime. Now, when you look at the history of the nation of Israel, they've essentially been in tribulation this entire time. They've fought multiple wars. The entire world is against Israel right now. I'm not so sure that that's ever necessarily been the case, where the entire world has been against one nation. Even America at times, depending on who's in office. So, I don't know. This may be more of like actual warfare. I don't know. It could also describe right now, though. Uh, Israel is constantly fighting for its right to exist, and not many people support it. Um, anyway, make of that what you will. I'm not going to like make a declaration one way or another. The only way that we can know is by waiting and seeing, and if a prophet clarifies exactly if this is taking place or not. But anyway, so after that tribulation, then comes the sign of the Son of Man, according to this, and then it continues, and whoso treasureth up my word shall not be deceived, for the Son of Man shall come, and he shall send his angels before him with the great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together the remainder of his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. So this has been going on because, well, I would say that this is talking about missionary work. Um, well, there's a footnote here for angels. D&C 29:11 through 15. For I will reveal myself from heaven with power and great glory, with all the host thereof, and dwell in righteousness with men on earth 1,000 years, and the wicked shall not stand. And again, verily I say unto you, and it hath gone forth in a firm decree by the will of the Father, that mine apostles, the 12, which were with me in my ministry at Jerusalem, shall stand at my right hand at the day of my coming in a pillar of fire, being clothed with robes of righteousness, with crowns upon their heads in glory, even as I am, to judge the whole house of Israel, even as many as have loved me and kept my commandments, and none else. For a trump shall sound both long and loud, even as upon Mount Sinai, and all the earth shall quake, and they shall come forth, yea, even the dead, which died in me, to receive a crown of righteousness, and to be clothed upon, even as I am, to be with me, that we may be one. But behold, I say unto you, but behold, I say, unto you, that before this great day shall come the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall be turned to blood, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and there shall be greater signs in heaven above and in the earth beneath, and there shall be weeping and wailing among the hosts of men. And then it also references Moses chapter 7, verse 25 and 26. And he saw angels descending out of heaven, and he heard a loud voice saying, Woe, woe be unto the inhabitants of the earth. And he beheld Satan, and he had a great chain in his hand, and it veiled the whole face of the earth with darkness, and he looked up and laughed, and his angels rejoiced. Okay, so whatever the case, right now, the focus, like President Nelson says, the most important thing going on earth is the gathering of scattered Israel on both sides of the veil. And this work has been going on for over 200 years now, of gathering scattered Israel and sounding the trumpet and the alarm and warning people. The Book of Mormon itself being a sign that the time is soon at hand. So, okay, in Luke, it talks about this. It says, And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, and men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Again, these are all things that have been declared as fulfilled in General Conference. Men's hearts failing them, the sea and the waves roaring and heaving themselves beyond their bounds, and all these different things. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. Now, the footnote for cloud takes you to Daniel, chapter 7, verse 13. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. Okay, now, this seems to be, we know that the Ancient of Days is Adam, right? So here you have Christ coming in the clouds of heaven, which seems to be the sign of the Son of Man, because that's what was that was the footnote, right? Reading in Luke, the footnote for cloud takes you to here. So basically, you have Christ coming, and we just read that his original 12 apostles will be with him, obviously, and then he comes to Adam, right? And came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion to Christ, right? There was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. So reading this, it would seem that it's like the way that this reads is that you see the sign of the Son of Man. Christ is coming in the clouds, and that's when he meets with Adam, and then the kingdom is transferred over. The dominion, the kingdom, he assumes the reins. So you have to wonder if basically Adam-ondi-Ahman like happens at the same time, or in some way it's in conjunction with the appearance of the sign of the Son of Man. I don't really know. And I'm not going to really speculate that much, but it seems like the two are connected based on this. So this is what we know. Joseph Smith said that the sign of the Son of Man is going to start out small, and it's going to gradually grow larger and larger. The saints are going to recognize it. And then Christ will come with his 12 apostles, and it seems at this same time is when he's going to meet with Adam, and there will be Adam-ondi-Ahman, right? And then there's the transfer of power. And then going to D&C 88, It talks about this again. Okay. And the angel shall fly through the midst of heaven, crying with a loud voice, sounding the trump of God, saying, prepare ye, O inhabitants of the earth, for the judgment of our God is come. Behold, and lo, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. Which is interesting because uh, this was the main focus of Elder Bednar's talk this last conference, was about getting ready for the marriage feast and for the bridegroom to come. And immediately there shall appear a great sign in heaven, and all people shall see it together. And this is the sign of the Son of Man. You click on the footnote, it takes you to the sign of the Son of Man. Okay, so basically the warning is given, it's put out, right? The angels flying through the midst of heaven, crying with a loud voice, get ready for the bridegroom, and then the sign appears. And then after that, and another angel shall sound his trump, saying, that great church, the mother of abominations, that made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, that persecuteth the saints of God, that shed their blood, who sitteth upon many waters and upon the islands of the sea. Behold, she is the tares of the earth. She is bound in bundles. Her bands are made strong. No man can loose them. Therefore she is ready to be burned. And he shall sound his trump both long and loud, and the nations shall hear it. So, as the sign of the Son of Man is in the heavens and appearing and growing larger and larger, that's when the end is being prepared, where you have the great and abominable church that's ready for its destruction. And then it says, and there shall be silence in heaven for the space of half an hour, and immediately after shall the curtain of heaven be unfolded, as a scroll is unfolded, after it is rolled up, and the face of the Lord shall be unveiled. And the saints that are upon the earth who are alive shall be quickened and caught up to meet him. And they who have slept in their graves shall come forth, for the grave shall be opened, and they shall also be caught up to meet him in the midst of the pillar of heaven. They are Christ, the firstfruits, they who shall descend with him first, and they who are on the earth and in their graves, who are first caught up to meet him. And all this by the voice of the sounding of the trump of the angel of God. So this is all that I can really tell, is that you have the sign appear. The conditions on earth are as ripe as they can be for the great and abominable church to be destroyed. And then we're caught up. The resurrection takes place and the quickening. And that's it. That's all I know. That's all I know. So as we think about the future, anything could happen. For all anybody knows, maybe this year, maybe on winter solstice, maybe on Christmas, maybe the sign of the Son of Man will appear, or maybe it'll happen before that. Anything could happen. It's going to happen at some point, though. Um, but that's it. It's just interesting that it starts out small and then it grows. Make of that whatever you will. And then make out of this whatever you will. The fact that in Daniel it talks about Christ coming in the clouds and then meeting with Adam. For all anybody knows, like we've wondered on the channel, maybe the sessions of Adam-ondi-Ahman have already begun. Okay, because Bruce R. McConkie talks about in Millennial Messiah how likely there's going to be multiple sessions and they're going to be across different continents. And we've also wondered if maybe these area devotionals that President Nelson himself is doing is somehow related to that. The reason why is because he's going around to these different areas, and unlike other devotionals, it's not available for more than just a week. Like, you can click on the link to watch it, but it's only up for about a week, and they don't want you transcribing anything or whatever. So it's like these very special devotionals with the prophet himself. He's at every single one, and it's for those areas. And then Sister Nelson seemed to have given a big hint back in 2016 that maybe things had already commenced or were going to shortly. So if Adam-ondi-Ahman, if the series of meetings of Adam-ondi-Ahman have been ongoing for a while now, maybe the culminating event, okay, maybe the final meeting is during the translation, during the resurrection in the quickening, which would kind of make sense because we're told that um, with Adam-ondi-Ahman, we're told that everyone that's held priesthood keys from all ages are going to be there. And so when we've wondered about that with the Valley of Adam-ondi-Ahman, we've wondered, well, is it going to be like an invisible thing, like the world won't be able to see? Is everyone going to travel there by bus? Like, because with the material that's available that has to do with Adam-ondi-Ahman, it seems to they all seem to imply that the righteous will be there also, not just people that have held keys, but also all the righteous. So this would kind of make sense. Like, imagine that they had like an initial meeting in the Valley of Adam-ondi-Ahman, just like the very first meeting to get things started. So that took place there, and now there are these different area devotionals going on that seem to be very special in nature. And then what if the final session is when we're quickened and the resurrected go, and then that's where the reporting takes place? Because look, we just read where was it? Okay, I had to pause and find it because I only had it pulled up right here in the footnotes. So okay, so look, listen to this. Imagine this. Imagine the first session already took place in the Valley of Adam-ondi-Ahman, and then there have been subsequent meetings, such as maybe these area devotionals, and then the final event. Imagine that it takes place in the cloud after the resurrection has taken place, which makes sense because then all the resurrected righteous saints would be there and everyone that's held keys, as well as the righteous on the earth. The meeting is happening up in the cloud. And at that same time, because remember what it said here in D&C 29, verses 11 to 15. For I will reveal myself from heaven with power and great glory, with all the hosts thereof, and dwell in righteousness with men on earth 1,000 years, and the wicked shall not stand. And again, verily, verily, I say unto you, and it hath gone forth in a firm decree by the will of the Father, that mine apostles, the 12, which were with me in my ministry at Jerusalem, shall stand at my right hand at the day of my coming in a pillar of fire, being clothed with robes in righteousness, with crowns upon their heads, in glory, even as I am, to judge the whole house of Israel, even as many as have loved me and kept my commandments, and none else. Sorry. And, okay. For a trump shall sound both long and loud, even as upon Mount Sinai, and all the earth shall quake, and they shall come forth, yea, even the dead which died in me, to receive a crown of righteousness, to be clothed upon even as I am, to be with me, that we may be one. But behold, I say unto you that before this great day shall come, shall come the Son. This is so weirdly worded. This great day shall come, the Son. Okay, I say unto you that before this great day shall come, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall be turned into blood, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and there shall be greater signs in heaven above and in the earth beneath, and there shall be weeping and wailing among the hosts of heaven. Okay, so this makes perfect sense. And I'm not saying that this is how it's going to happen, but it makes perfect sense that the final meeting, when you have Adam is there, You have Christ and his apostles are there, the original 12 apostles. And then, like it said right here, then the resurrection, okay, the resurrected people show up, and then us too, those that are righteous and worthy to be quickened. That makes complete sense. And if anything, it seems like that would probably be the marriage feast. I've talked about before on the channel how you would make, if anything is the marriage feast, it seems like it would be Adam-ondi-Ahman. But I never connected Adam-ondi-Ahman with being caught up in possibly being like the last meeting. in my mind, that makes perfect sense. It makes more sense that the resurrected, all the resurrected would meet in the cloud rather than in the valley of Adam-ondi-Ahman. You know, because again, that very first session to get things started, it was probably just for a few. And I'm sure Christ was there. I'm sure that Adam was there, but maybe it was just to get the process started. And then the final one where everybody can see and be in one place would be up in the cloud. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. I'm good with this one. I think that's gonna be my maybe my top pick for how things might play out in my mind. But you can let me know what you think in the comments below. That's gonna be it for this one. So if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, make sure to share it. Also make sure to share the Book of Mormon and let me know how many you've shared, and I'll put you on the tracker, and I'll talk to you guys later.